What's up, guys? Andrew Savita here, back with another video, and we are back. I am back. I have been on a little 2-month hiatus. I have not uploaded. The Penguins have done a lot. The Mets have done a lot, and I have not been able to say anything. As you guys can see, I'm in a new location. I'll be in this location for a little while. I'm moving from New York. I'm here in my new little setup, and I'll probably be moving in the next 2 months to have a different setup. So that's just a little kind of where have I been. I'm moving. So here you guys see a different backdrop, the new backdrop. Got the AEW title, some pops, some autograph balls in the background, but maybe that'll be a video for a different time. But I am back here, and back to being what I think I love making these videos, and that is a dream off-season video for my New York Mets. Obviously, Steve Cohen is now our new owner, so off-seasons like this are going to be a lot more fun than they have been in the past regime. Money's going to be spent, stars are going to be brought in. I am excited. Let's get some ground rules out of the way first. This video is not going to be... I'm going to try to keep this as realistic as possible. I know most Mets videos you see, people are like, we're going to sign Trevor Bauer and JT and Springer and trade for Lindor and. I'm going to try to keep it as realistic as possible, but yet still having stuff I would want and keeping it realistic. So I'm going to try to limit myself to one big offseason signing. Trades are off at the trades are. You can do trades, because trades are trades. There's not money signing, but I'm going to try to keep it to one massive free agent signing, and then trying to build a team who can contend next year and potentially make the playoffs and go far in the playoffs. So this is going to be a different style of video. This is the only time you're going to see my face. I'm going to go shift over to voiceover. I made graphics for this video with trades and signings and all in the lineup. I'll preview everything during the video. So this is the last time you'll see my stupid face. So let's get into my 2020 Dream Mets offseason video. And let's start it off with the biggest rumor that I think the Mets have been involved in this offseason is the Francisco Lindor trade. And I have this as the big market trade, Steve Cohen, first offseason, making that blockbuster. And I have the Mets acquiring Francisco Lindor and Zach Plesac for Brandon Nimmo, J.D. Davis, Ahmed Rosario, and Thomas Kopecky. You're going to look at this trade and think, why is the Indians giving up Zach Plesac? I made this mock trade, before Marcus Stroman accepted the qualifying offer. So I thought the Mets would need to add a starter. So Plesac was added. If you feel the Indians won't give up Plesac, it could be Carrasco, or you want to just make the base trade. It is Lindor for Davis, Rosario, and Kopecky. Let's talk about Francisco Lindor. Switch hitting shortstop with power. Platinum glove fielding. He's won a platinum glove. He's a 2-time gold glover. Switch hitter. And he's only 26 years old. You're going to get this guy in the prime of his career, put in the middle of your order, can balance out the lefty-righty matchup with the Mets lineup, because if you look at the Mets lineup, it is extremely left-handed. There's not a lot of right-handed power, right-handed hitters in general, besides Alonso. You put in Lindor, you can put him in a 3 spot, put him in the 4 5, wherever Luis Rojas wants to put Lindor. You're getting a gold glove, power-hitting, switch-hitting shortstop, which there's not a lot of those in the game. To be able to put his platinum fielding behind Jacob deGrom, behind Marcus Stroman in this rotation, to play short, it solidifies the problem in the Mets defense. You get a gold glove shortstop, Paul Cano, who's got a former gold glove, even though he's old, diminishing a little bit. He's still very serviceable at second. And you put that bat in this lineup. And I've seen a lot of people who don't want this trade say, oh, he's a free agent. He can just walk out the door after the season if he doesn't work. To what I say, unlike most free agent classes, this free agency class coming up after the season, every top 5 to top 10, there's 5 top 10 shortstops going to be available. Lindor is the number 1. Number 2, Trevor Story, Javi Baez, Carlos Correa, and there's one more, Corey Seager, all going to be available. So if you feel like you think we lose Lindor for nothing and think, oh man, we're going to trade Rosario, JD, and Kopecky and not get anything back, even if we lose Lindor, the value of the offensive production won't really drop if we don't re-sign Lindor, we sign one of those other 4 guys. The offensive production does not fall off as bad as it would, as the idea of any other offseason. You lose Lindor, and there really is no number 2 option. If he doesn't work, you have 4 other options who are elite hitters, 3 of them right-handed, and 1 lefty. But you lose the switch hitting. But for me, Lindor is an easy trade chip. The Mets have to do whatever it takes to put that bat in the middle of the lineup and get. Let's jump into some offensive production in the free agency market. Like I said, I limited myself to one marquee free agent. As you guys can see, I have that marquee free agent being George Springer, the center fielder from formerly of the Houston Astros. I got him on a 5-year, $110 million deal. I got our catcher not going out in signing JT Realmuto, signing James McCann to a 3-year, $27 million contract. And the last piece was a depth piece. I originally did not have Brandon Nimmo on the roster, but I went out and signed Kevin Pillar, formerly of the Colorado Rockies, on a 1-year, $6 million contract. Let's start off with the big one. George Springer. He's the big marquee free agent. The Mets need to go out and sign this offseason to add that kind of productive bat in center field. The Mets have needed a center fielder since they traded Carlos Beltran in 2011, and they really haven't. They've tried to put a bunch of guys. It was Alejandro Diaz, Andres Torres, all these low mark-in center fielders. They could never find the guy just to put in center field that you know is a star, who can hit, who can field, who can run. And Springer's a mixture of all that. You add 30 home run potential, 90 RBIs, 30 homers. Slash line's about he gets about 270. OPS is always around about 850, 900. You add this guy to the middle line, and he's shown he has postseason success. Asterisks or not, in 2017, he was the World Series MVP, but even last year in 2020, carried the Astros in the leadoff spot, hitting a bunch of homers off the Rays if it was against the A's. He has showed consistently he can hit in the playoffs. He doesn't need trash cans. He is an elite hitter, and the Mets need to get him in center field. The next big signing I had was James McCann, and everyone I've seen on SNY, MLB Network, everyone has said the Mets are going to sign JT Realmuto. Here's how I see Realmuto with the Mets. I would love JT. I would not be mad if the Mets went out and spent the big money on JT. If it were me, I would rather spread out the resources, and McCann is a downgrade. JT Realmuto is the best catcher in baseball. I don't think there's without a doubt, that it's him or Grandal is the best. For me, James McCann is very good. He is a defense. He's always been known as a great defensive catcher. The last couple of years, his offense has picked up tremendously. In 2019, 270. That was kind of his breakout year. 18 homers, 60 RBIs, 273 average with OPS about 780, which is not bad. In this 60-game season where he lost his job, where the White Sox went out and signed Yasmani Grandal, his playing time diminished, but his stats did not. 31 games, 28 hits, 7 homers, 15 RBIs, a 289 average, a 360 on base, 538 slug, and an 896 OPS. Take that in as a small sample size of a 60-game season and really a 31-game season. For me, McCann, who has an elite arm, I was watching some videos on him. This guy's got an absolute cannon behind the plate. His pop time's not as good as JT, but that's kind of what JT is. He's not an all-around 5-tool player. But I feel he's great defensively. You get some offensive production here, and he kills left-handed pitching. If you've noticed, all three of the offensive signings I made were right-handed. Moving on to Kevin Pillar. Kevin Pillar, I signed him because I originally had Zach Plesac and tried to add a pitcher from Cleveland. As you guys saw in the graphic, I took that trade out. I still talked about it because I recorded that session beforehand. But, Plesac and Carrasco are out, so it was just Lindor for JD, Rosario, and Skopecki. So Nimmo was on the field. Nimmo was still on the team. Kevin Pillar can be a great platoon in left field because now Nimmo will be shifted to left. Springer will play center for probably the first 2 years of the contract. Bringing Pillar is a great right who kills left-handed pitching. And if you've seen Kevin Pillar highlights, he's always been a defensive first outfielder whose offensive game is he's about a 260 hitter. This in the 2020 season, 54 games between Boston and Colorado. 54 games, 60 hits, 6 homers, 26 RBIs, hit 288, 336 on base, 462 slug, and an OPS almost 800. Is he that player? Who knows? But the Mets have always platooned Nimmo, and they've always had a really below average. But Pillar is pretty average, but I think he's a little below average, and he's a pretty solid defender. And he kills left-handed pitching, which is kind of the problem with the Mets lineup is they are extremely left-handed, and they're not good against left-handed pitching. Historically, the last couple of years, think about the Mets lineup. You look at JD, you look at Conforto, you look at McNeil, Cano, all lefties. So the Mets, I brought in 3 right-handed hitters and switch hitter if you count Lindor, just to balance out the lineup. But for me, Pillar, McCann, and Springer were my 3 offensive upgrades. Now, after this, let's jump into the pitching. The Mets is probably the Mets' biggest need this offseason was to bring in some starting pitching in the rotation and in the bullpen. And as you guys can see, I have him signing, I guess, the biggest pitcher for rotation-wise. Marcus Stroman accepting the qualifying offer was not, I didn't expect the Mets to actually, him accepting, I thought he would test the market. Stroman coming in solidifies taking a spot away. I thought the Mets would sign Corey Kluber on a 1-year deal. But with them signing Stroman, that takes Kluber off. But you guys see, I do throw a 1-year deal at Charlie Morton, who was declined by the Rays on a 1-year, $15 million option. They declined his option. And he's a Northeast guy. I think he's from Delaware. I believe. I think he's a Delaware kid. And he always a big game pitcher for the Rays. He pitched Game 7 against the Astros in the ALCS. He's always big in clutch games. His season, he's gotten better. It's almost funny because he's gotten better as he ages. 2018 was the last year with the Astros, had a 3.13 in 167 innings, 200 strikeouts. 2019 he went to Tampa Bay. He went 16-6 with a 3.05 and 194 and 2/3 innings with 240 strikeouts. Last year was injured, only made about 9 starts. He went 2-2 with a 4.75 ERA, but his postseason definitely was worth the average regular season. The Mets can bring him into a 1-year deal. This is the kind of deals with Steve Cohen's money. You can throw almost like how the Braves done with Osuna and Donaldson and Cole Hamels, doing a 1-year deal with decent amount of money and just throw a risk at him. I also have bringing some bullpen help. And this was a player that the Mets, that Sandy Olson said in his press conference, he would have claimed him if he had full control. That's Brad Hand. I have Brad Hand on a 2-year, $16 million deal. Brad Hand was one of the best relievers in baseball last year. He led the American League in saves with 16. He went 2-1 with a 2.05 ERA. And this wasn't like, oh, they declined his option and put him on waivers because he's bad. He had a 2.05 ERA in 22 innings. Doesn't strike out a lot of people, but for me, it really doesn't matter. You get out, that's all that matters. In 21 games, only struck out 29 guys. In 2019, 6-4 in 54 games, an ERA of 3.30 and 57 in the third inning. Not terrible, not tremendous, pretty solid. And then when he was traded to San Diego, from San Diego to Cleveland, 2.75 in 69 games in 2018. Mets need bullpen help. Edwin Diaz definitely bounced back, which I was very happy to see that he has hopefully turned the corner. Now he will be that Seattle Diaz the Mets wanted when they acquired him. And he also, another guy I have them bringing in is Trevor May, former closer of the Minnesota Twins. And he's about average. I mean, he's a very solid reliever. I'm a 2-year deal at $12 million. 2019, he had a 2.94 and 64 in the third innings. The year before that, 3.20. This year, a little higher on the ERA of 3.86. 2019 was in 64 and a third innings. 2018, 25 and a third. And this year, only 23 and a third. It's just another good arm. Even though Betances and Brad Brock accepted their options, I still think the Mets should go out and add a pitcher. And May and Hand help in the bullpen. After all that, let's look at what the 2021 New York Mets would look like. And looking at this lineup, last year the Mets ranked offensively as the number 1 offense in Major League Baseball, adding some major pieces. This is what the lineup looks like. As you guys can see, George Springer would be leading off and playing center field. Astros has the most leadoff home runs in Astros history. Add that to the lineup. Batting second and playing third is Jeff McNeil. Again, in most lineups, McNeil was usually the Mets leadoff hitter or number 2 hitter in the lineup. Batting third, there is Francisco Lindor. I'm playing short. Batting fourth, should have been MVP candidate Michael Conforto. Finally had that breakout season to continue. Had that hit for 300 and the power in the RBIs. He's hitting cleanup and playing right field. Batting fifth at DH, hopefully the DH is in the National League, Pete Alonso. Batting sixth, playing first is Dom Smith. Batting seventh and catching is James McCann. Robbie Cano batting eighth and batting second and playing second. And in left field and batting ninth, either Brandon Nimmo or Kevin Pillar, depending on the lefty-righty matchup. You look up and down this lineup. Last year, the Mets ranked offensively with the number 1 offense in Major League in the National League, which makes no sense. But if you look at the numbers, you got guys like Dom Smith who had a career year with a 993 OPS. You got Conforto, like I said, with a 927. Cano almost with a 900 896. Nimmo, who had a terrible first month, still ended up with an 888 OPS. Actually, the slug was actually at 484. You bring in George Springer, leading off power. Last year, slug OPS 899, slugging at 540. You bring in Francisco Lindor, you bring that superstar. His OPS was, even on a down year at a 60-game season, still at an OPS at 750, which is average to a major leaguer. But you look at his career when he's the 2 past seasons, career OPS is about 850, 870. So you get that kind of superstar switch hitter. And you look at Alonso, hopefully he can bounce back. He brings you nothing but power. If you get his 260 average back, that'd be great. James McCann, you get that balance contact at catcher. You get a production increase from Ramos. You get better average. You lose maybe a little power. Nimmo and Pillar are about the same player. And then you have guys like McNeil and Dom who are just going to get on base a ton. Hopefully Dom's power can continue to increase. And McNeil didn't homer until like the last 3 weeks of the season. If McNeil's power can tick back up like in the second half of 2019. This lineup, you got guys like Springer can hit 30, Lindor can hit 30, Conforto can hit 30 homers, Alonso can hit 30. it's up and down this lineup. Everybody's going to hit 15 plus. You've got 7 All-Stars. Should have been 8 if we had a 2020 All-Star game, Dom would have been there. You have 8, pretty much I'll call it 8 All-Stars. This offense is going to be elite. It's going to score runs. But the problem with the Mets last year was the pitching. And with the additions, we'll see how that rotation and bullpen looks now. Unlike most years, the New York Mets starting pitching fell apart. Guys like Noah Syndergaard got hurt in, I guess, between summer camp and spring training. Mark Stroman, who was injured and opted out halfway through the season just to get to free agency. So you look at the rotation, you know it's going to be led by the ace, the best pitcher in baseball, Jacob deGrom, who got robbed in the Cy Young voting, is going to be the horse. Hopefully continue to go back, maybe for his 3rd Cy Young in 4 years. Should have been 3 for 3, going for 4, besides the point. You bring back Marcus Stroman on the qualifying offer. You expect him to be number 2. Number 3, you bring in, like I said, Charlie Morton to be the number 3. I have David Peterson right now at the 4. And I know a lot of Met fans see it at number 5. That's Steven Matz. And there is an asterisk, as you guys see, if you read below. Noah Syndergaard is going to be back before the All-Star break. He just posted a video the other day, him already throwing, so hopefully we can get Noah back pre-All-Star game. So we can go a rotation of deGrom, Syndergaard, Stroman, Morton, Peterson. Matz can be sent to the Inferno, hopefully never to be seen again, because after last season, I have given up on Steven Matz. I'm tired of seeing him in the rotation, but you look at deGrom. Even last year, deGrom got the last 2 starts screwed him. 2.38 at the top of the rotation. Stroman, you're going to get about a 3.4, 3.7 ERA. And the wild card is Syndergaard, with him being a free agent after the season. For the Mets, use him up. Grind him out. There's no need. No pitch counts. He's a free agent after the season. Burn him. I don't care. And then you look at David Peterson, had a nice little rookie season with an ERA 3.4. If that's my 5th starter, I'll take that as my 5th starter. And they bring in Morton, who hopefully can be a 3.4, 3.5 in the rotation. Just eat innings. I mean, he hasn't stayed healthy last year, but if he can eat some innings, make about 25 starts, I'm okay. The bigger problem is now the bullpen. The bullpen now, Edwin Diaz bounced back from a horrific 2019 where ERA was at 5, got his ERA under 1.8. Last season with 1.75 in 25 innings. I'm making Seth Lugo a reliever. Enough with this. Oh, he's a starter. No, he's a reliever. He's going to be a reliever. He's my setup man. Then we brought in Brad Hand. He can be in a high leverage situation kind of guy. They bring back Betances. Betances has shown it in the past. He's got I think a year. Now he's got a full year to recover from the ankle. I think he's going to be a lot better than he was last year because he just didn't look well and he didn't look good. He didn't look like no Betances, Brad Brock, Familia, and Trevor May can just fill out the back end of like 7th inning guys to just extra mid relievers. And so that's what the pitching looks good, man. I think the pitching definitely is improved, more improved than last season. There's a lot less question marks, but can they put it all together? And how many wins do I see this team getting in a normal 162 games? I'm hoping, of course, obviously, Steve Cohen said he wants to win championships and he wants to be in one of the best teams in the National League. I do think they finish in the playoffs. I do think they make the playoffs with this roster. I'd say probably 93 wins, hopefully. Maybe I'm being a little too much of a Met fan after a under 500 season last year. They won 86 the year before. So I think 93 wins is kind of the hot spot. I think they do make a wild card team. And if we have expanded rosters, especially, I think they make the playoffs with expanded rosters with a normal 2 wild card team. I have them winning about 93 games and being at least at minimum a wild card team. So that's what I would do if I was the New York Mets general manager in this 2021 offseason, 2021 offseason. What do you guys think? Is it realistic, unrealistic? Met fans, what do you guys think? Would you be okay if that was your 2021 New York Mets roster? What do you guys think? Leave in the comment section below. What do you guys think? Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.